the players union can turn this in and keep straight faces. And as it's heading now, I'm going to be honest. I'm starting to believe that the end of the WNBA, the end of the league, is now on the table. Because there's just when you look at the revenue loss, there's no point. What is the point of keeping this league going? This emerged last night from ESPN.
Tensions surrounding the Professional Women's Basketball League's contract negotiations have reached alarming levels, with the potential collapse of the entire organization now appearing increasingly plausible. The distance between ownership representatives and the athletes' collective bargaining representatives shows no signs of narrowing as critical deadlines approach. Fresh reporting has emerged detailing the staggering financial consequences should league officials accept the current demands being presented by player representatives. The figures involved strained credibility, raising serious questions about whether those formulating these demands understand basic business economics. The situation has deteriorated to such an extent that the league's very survival has become a legitimate concern rather than mere speculation. According to information released Wednesday evening through major sports media outlets, discussions between the Women's Basketball Organization and the Women's National Basketball Players Association face a crucial January 9 deadline.
This emerged last night from ESPN as negotiations between the WNBA and Women's National Basketball Players Association, Players Union, over a new collective bargaining agreement nears a January 9 deadline. The sides remain far apart on key issues. What a revenue sharing system should look like and what should be considered revenue and how to account for expenses. Boy, they're going to go out of business over this revenue.
The two parties remain fundamentally divided on several critical matters. The framework for distributing revenues, determining what qualifies as legitimate income, and establishing appropriate methods for calculating operational costs. The revenue distribution dispute threatens to dismantle the entire enterprise. Without significant compromise on this central issue, the organization faces existential peril. Multiple individuals with direct knowledge of ongoing discussions revealed that league administrators are forecasting catastrophic consequences from the union's latest proposal. This plan would allocate approximately 30% of total gross revenues to athletes while implementing a compensation ceiling near $10.5 million. Financial analysts project this arrangement would generate roughly $700 million in red ink throughout the duration of whatever agreement eventually gets finalized.
Sharing thing. If they're not willing to drop it, the league is over. It's over. Seriously. They're not going to get it. Multiple sources familiar with negotiations told ESPN on Wednesday that the WNBA is projecting that a recent proposal from the WNBPA, that's the players union, which would give players about a 30% of gross revenue and is believed
such devastating losses would fundamentally threaten the organization's ability to continue operations. The projected deficit would actually surpass the accumulated losses from the league's entire 29-year history combined. Should this proposal move forward over a typical 3 to 4 year contract period, the financial hemorrhaging would exceed nearly 3 decades of previous shortfalls. These calculations reportedly derive from previously verified financial documentation that has undergone independent auditing. However, union representatives maintain their compensation framework would still position the league favorably from a profitability standpoint. A different source with access to negotiation details flatly rejects the projected loss calculations as completely inaccurate, highlighting disagreements about whether entrance fees from expansion franchises should factor into revenue calculations.
Give players about a 30% of gross revenue and is believed to feature approximately a $10.5 million salary cap. Is that a joke? That can't happen. It would result in $700 million in losses over the course of the agreement. Such losses would jeopardize the league's financial health. No kidding.
The league continues expanding toward an 18-team configuration. Portland and Toronto franchises are scheduled to begin competition in 2026, while Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia each contributed $250 million to secure future membership between 2028 and 2030. League administrators classify expansion entrance payments as transactions producing zero net income, which follows standard accounting practices. New franchises pay initial fees but only receive proportional shares of future revenues, while established teams receive portions of entrance payments yet sacrifice fractional shares of future income streams. The union's compensation proposal, conversely, incorporates expansion payments into its financial projections, viewing these substantial sums as genuine capital that enhances ownership's overall financial positions. This perspective reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of sustainable business models.
Be like putting a silver bullet in it. The sources said they would be more than the combined losses of the league and its teams in the first 29 years of existence. So over the course of whatever the agreement would be, 3 or 4 years, they would lose more money than they've lost in the last 29 years combined. The projection, sources said, was determined.
Expecting organizations to perpetually rely on expansion payments as ongoing revenue sources demonstrates unrealistic thinking. Major professional sports organizations, including professional football leagues, haven't pursued expansion in approximately 2 decades. Treating expansion fees as dependable, recurring income streams represents irresponsible financial planning. Critics suggest this flawed approach may stem from leadership involvement with alternative competitive leagues. Some speculate that undermining the established organization's financial viability could benefit emerging rival competitions.
Sources said was determined based on previously audited league financial information. But the union believes its revenue sharing model still puts the league in, quote, a profitable position. A separate source close to negotiations said and calls the league's projected loss figure, quote, absolutely false, citing a discrepancy in whether expansion fees are factored in. Hold on. Okay, we'll get to this in a minute. There's no way they can be this dumb.
Concerns have emerged that certain prominent athletes currently serving on negotiating committees may have conflicting interests given their involvement with alternative basketball ventures. Suggestions have circulated that union membership should reconsider current leadership representation, specifically calling for the removal of certain high-profile players from negotiating positions. The fundamental disagreement centers on compensation structure mechanics. League representatives have offered an arrangement providing athletes with over 50% of net revenues, essentially defined as total income minus operating expenses. This framework appears fundamentally reasonable, proposing an even split of whatever profits remain after covering costs.
There's no way they can be this dumb. The league soon will grow to 18 teams. Portland and Toronto will debut in 2026. Cleveland, Detroit, Philadelphia recently paid $250 million each to join the league between 2028 and 2030. The league considers expansion fees a transaction that generates zero net revenue, as well they should. New teams are out the expansion fee but earn a fractional share of.
Recent proposals from league administrators, specifically one dated December 18th, featured an unlimited revenue-sharing component that would raise maximum individual salaries beyond $1.3 million, eventually reaching nearly $2 million throughout the agreement's lifespan. Average compensation would climb to $780,000 annually, representing a massive increase from current average salaries around $120,000. The initial compensation ceiling would start at $5 million and escalate proportionally as organizational revenues grow, creating direct alignment between business success and athlete earnings. League officials have emphasized their desire to dramatically enhance compensation while simultaneously encouraging ownership to continue investing in operational excellence. The organization's remarkable growth trajectory in recent seasons presents unprecedented opportunities to transition from chronic losses towards sustainable profitability.
The expansion fee but earn a fractional share of the future league revenue, while pre-existing teams get a portion of the fee but lose a fractional share of future league revenue. The union's proposal, meanwhile, accounts for expansion fees in its projections, seeing them as real money that still contributes to the owner's bottom lines. You players are idiots. Do you expect the league to just forever keep trying to expand? No.
More recent proposals have suggested lower compensation ceilings closer to $10.5 million as discussions continue. Union representatives regularly update membership through written communications and verbal briefings regarding negotiation progress. Official statements from the Players Association emphasize their determination to secure transformative agreements, delivering meaningful portions of revenues generated by their athletic performances. However, this steadfast commitment to specific demands may ultimately destroy the very enterprise generating their employment opportunities. The guidance being provided to these athletes raises serious questions.
Well, it looked like Caitlin Clark impact just might not be enough to keep the WNBA around because, as we seen earlier and as we heard a few weeks ago, the WNBA players want to go on strike and they want a share of that revenue. Now, I told y'all, I believe that there is not enough revenue to be made to even share. The WNBA has been running pretty much on bankrupt tendencies for the last 30 years. These owners has not made a profit.
The apparent willingness to accept arrangements where ownership groups perpetually operate unprofitable ventures seems extraordinarily short-sighted. Most reasonable people understand businesses must generate profits to remain viable. The generosity shown by current ownership in maintaining this organization despite consistent financial losses represents remarkable charity. Ownership finds itself in a particularly challenging position. The emergence of exceptional talents like Caitlin Clark, combined with pending media rights agreements, suggests genuine profitability may finally be achievable.
I don't know why these players keep trying to erase the past 30 years. Like, y'all can't just press rewind, fast forward, and speed up till today. So what y'all popping right now, y'all has not ever been popping like this before since the league has been around. Hence why we're at this situation right now. Now let's pull it up and see exactly what the hell is going on with Adam Silver. So this article came out from Front Office Sports.
However, unreasonable demands from player representatives could undermine potential media contract values if compensation structures appear economically unsustainable. The current proposal clearly falls into the unreasonable category. Whoever bears responsibility for crafting these negotiating positions should face immediate removal from leadership roles. League Commissioner Adam Silver may need to intervene directly, clearly communicating to player representatives that their current demands cannot be accommodated. Establishing a firm deadline, perhaps the end of February, with explicit threats of work stoppages if negotiations continue down this destructive path, might provide necessary leverage to reach realistic agreements.
So this article came out from Front Office Sports, and it states Adam Silver says he could join WNBA negotiation. The NBA commissioner said he'll do whatever is necessary on the CBA, while Breanna Stewart said his presence will be welcome. So it looked like Breanna Stewart is aggressively kind of wanting Adam Silver to step in. It goes on to say NBA commissioner Adam Silver has a lot on his plate. Roughly 8 weeks into the season, he already faces a gambling scandal, which we've been covering that on
The organization's future trajectory remains deeply uncertain, whether cooler heads will prevail or whether ideological stubbornness will destroy decades of progress hangs in the balance. The stakes couldn't be higher as both sides face decisions that will determine whether professional women's basketball continues to exist as a viable commercial enterprise or collapses under the weight of unrealistic financial demands disconnected from business reality. The ongoing collective bargaining agreement disputes between WNBA management and athletes have reached such intensity that NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has signaled willingness to personally intervene. This development raises questions about whether league survival hinges on such extraordinary measures, as negotiations have deteriorated to critical levels.
Into the season, he already faces a gambling scandal, which we've been covering that on the channel pretty much for the past couple months. It stated an investigation into the Clippers for alleged salary cap circumstance and the league's potential future in Europe. Well, about a month ago, Adam Silver vowed to take on another high-level item on his to-do list, and that is the WNBA collective bargaining agreement. Now, last time we heard from Adam Silver speaking about the WNBA, this is what he said. He said, we're available to do whatever is necessary.
Recent discussions covering the current negotiation climate revealed escalating tensions. Silver's potential involvement stems from apparent inability of ownership groups and player representatives to reach consensus independently. The league faces genuine existential concerns despite recent growth. Attendance and viewership surged following Caitlin Clark's entry into professional competition. Her presence has provided crucial momentum, maintaining league viability.
About the WNBA, this is what he said. He said, "We're available to do whatever is necessary to help get a deal done," Silver said ahead of the Knicks NBA Cup win over the Spurs. He stated, "I'm encouraged by the fact they extended the deadline once again," which we already know that's the one that's coming up in the next 8 days to January. Presumably, the sides wouldn't have been willing to do that unless they thought there was a constructive path to getting a deal done. It goes on to say later in his nearly 2-minute long.
However, indications suggest even Clark's substantial impact may prove insufficient to preserve the WNBA's future amid current labor strife. Weeks ago, player representatives announced readiness to pursue work stoppage action while demanding revenue distribution arrangements. Critical examination suggests insufficient earnings exist to warrant such sharing mechanisms. The league has operated with deficit spending patterns throughout its 3-decade existence. Ownership groups have yet to generate sustained profitability during this period.
2-minute long answer, Silver stated, "I remain optimistic we'll get something done. The WNBA and WBPA and more than a year into negotiations for a new transformational CBA agreement. We all know that deadline is coming up on January the 9th. Now, the results of a second extension as both sides continue to exchange proposals, with sources telling front office sports meetings are taking place almost daily. Players are not feeling a hope.
Player demands appear to dismiss historical financial realities spanning 30 years. The league cannot simply eliminate past losses and pretend recent attendance gains erase decades of red ink. Current popularity represents unprecedented levels never previously achieved throughout organizational history, which explains the present standoff. Front Office Sports recently published coverage addressing Silver's position. The article headline indicated the NBA commissioner's potential participation in WNBA negotiations, with Silver stating readiness to undertake whatever actions prove necessary regarding CBA matters.
A hopeful at Silver. So it looked like players is telling front office sports as of right now, they don't think a deal is going to get done. They've been turning down these deals, man. They got offered $1 million, $12 million salary cap. Now they took the player housing out of it. They did all these set things to try to make these young ladies comfortable. And for whatever damn reason, they want someone to.
Breanna Stewart reportedly expressed support for Silver's involvement. Silver currently manages multiple demanding situations approximately 8 weeks into the current NBA season. He oversees ongoing gambling controversy investigations that have generated sustained coverage recently. Additionally, league officials are examining Clippers' organization regarding alleged salary cap violations. Future European expansion possibilities also demand attention.
Whatever damn reason, they want some of the revenue sharing like it's the next coming of Jesus. I got to tell y'all this, and I've been telling y'all this. There is no revenue to share. These guys have to make up the money they've been losing the past 30 years. I don't get why they're making this thing out to be like it's rocket science. It is not rocket science with what is going on with the current state of the WNBA. Let's get back to the article, man. So the article goes on to say, Adam Silver stated more often.
Roughly 1 month prior, Silver committed to adding WNBA collective bargaining matters to his already extensive responsibilities. His recent comments preceding a Knicks victory during NBA Cup competition indicated availability to assist, however, needed to facilitate agreement. Silver expressed encouragement regarding the parties' decision to extend negotiation deadlines again, with the current extension running until early January. He reasoned that neither side would agree to postponement without believing productive paths toward resolution remained available. During an extended response lasting nearly 2 minutes, Silver maintained optimism about achieving eventual settlement.